has experience. I was in court the other day just dropping by, and would you believe it? There was a woman, I bet she was 6 foot tall, weighed 180 pounds. And she was accusing this midget 3 feet tall of raping her. The judge looked at the woman, he looked at the midget. Oh, this is ridiculous. Are you serious, man? Throw the case out of court. Dismiss. This is foolish. Well, they left, and he called the midget back. He said, wait, I want to talk to you. Did you really do it? He said, yeah. He said, how'd you do it? He said, I threw a bucket over her head and swung from the handle. Oh, these things that can happen to people, you'll never know what's going on. As a matter of fact, I had a friend of mine, he had a nagging wife. Nag all the time. He couldn't stand it one night. He got so tired of it. He says, oh, well, hell with it. He dropped the papers. I'm going upstairs and take a bath. On the way by, she notices there's tears in his eyes. So she said, well, maybe I overdid it. Perhaps I better apologize or something, you know what I mean? So she walks over and she sees a paper. There's a headline, Ed Wright to hang tonight. She says, oh, my goodness, I was an old friend of his from school days. Gee, I better run upstairs right now. And the radio breaks in with a flash. News! Clemency, Ed Wright, pardoned by the governor. She says, oh, wait till he hears it. He'll love it. Oh, he'll be happy and hug me again. She runs upstairs, opens the bathroom door. He's standing there taking a shower. She says, honey, they're not hanging Wright tonight. He says, there you go with that damn nagging again. Oh, one guy bought a brand new car. These 1961 cars are fabulous, you know, and he just is so crazy about it. And he'd polish it and he'd shine it and sign, and all Sunday afternoon he worked on it, you know. He was pooped that night. He went right to bed after supper. Next morning he wakes up with a black eye. He said, what happened? I don't remember falling down. She said, no. His wife said, you didn't fall down, but you were so crazy about that car. In the middle of the night you got a nightmare. You're swinging around, you grab my cheek. She said, ooh, what a smooth finish. You reach a little lower and you grab me by the chest. Oh, what a pair of headlights. And you reach a little lower and you said, who the hell left the garage door open? And that's when you got the black eye. Well, matter of fact, it happens to anybody. Little experiences here and there. One fella was a sailor. He went to one of these diamond dance places. You know, he was dancing with this one hostess all night. He was crazy about her. Finally, she looked up. She said, aren't you going to take me home, big boy? He said, what's in it? She said, just a little dust from dancing. Actually, sometimes, you know, a honeymoon, well, you know what a honeymoon dance is. That takes two to bango, you know what I mean? Oh. There were some newlyweds on the honeymoon, and this fellow looked at her, you know, and he said, I couldn't help but notice, honey, now that we're here, you have an M, faint outline of an M on your stomach. How come? She said, oh, well, my ex-boyfriend, he was a college fellow. I would never remove his sweater. He was a letterman. She said, oh, I'm a college man, too. Was he from Minnesota or Michigan? She said, no, he was from Wisconsin. One guy married, he's a sort of a, well, the moron type. He met the, you know, married this girl and everything, and he gave her a kiss, and that night he'd go right to bed. Next night he'd give her a kiss, and he'd roll over and go right to bed. This goes on for 5 nights. The 6th night he goes down into the pool room, and she says, well, the hell with this, and she's packing her clothes and getting all ready, and bang, the door opens, his eyes are all wide, and he comes and he grabs her, and he tears her clothes up, he throws her, and boy, she says, ooh, this is crazy, but why? Why? He says, I just found out the boys in the pool room told me you put out. Two guys on a honeymoon, been friends together, they used to play at school together, on the same teams together and everything all the time, you know. Finally on this honeymoon, even had a double honeymoon, naturally, separate room. So they turn, he says, Jack and Joe. He says, Joe, he says, I'll tell you what, I'll make a bet. I bet you I have more romantic relations with my wife than you do. Yeah? We'll make it a $50 bet. And to make it legal, we'll mark the wall. Okay? It's a deal. All righty. So Joe, after his first experience of love and romance, puts a mark on the wall. About 40 minutes later, he just about gets over to the wall, but he gets it up there. About an hour later, he falls over and just manages to get one more mark between the other two when he passed out cold, tired, beaten. Next morning, Jack comes down, knocks on the door, nobody answered. Turns the knob, quietly walks in here. The two of them are out there sleeping, snoring away, and he walks over and he looks at the wall. He says, I'll be damned! 111, the guy beat me by 2. Oh, you never know. One fellow, a wealthy man, had 3 sons. And, you know, he told them, he says, boys, got the ranch. I want you to go there on the honeymoon. I want you to have everything you want. And just treat your wives like a good Texan should. Let them know you're a man. So the next morning after the honeymoon night, Father's standing there, you know, he's got the big boots and the 10-gallon hat on. The first son comes down, he's the oldest. He says, well, son, come on now, don't lie. How many times? You and the wife. She says, 4 times. What'd she say this morning? She looked up at me, Dad. She says, good morning, darling. That's my boy. Go in there, have yourself a good breakfast. Second son comes down, he asks him the same question. He says, 3 times. Yeah? What'd she say? She says, good morning, sweetheart. No, go on in there, my boy. The youngest son comes down about an hour and a half later, holding on to the banister. Holy shit. Just about make it. He says, well, wait a minute here. How many times did you make it with your wife last night? He says, once. Once! You're no son of mine. You don't... What did she say to you this morning? She just said, get the hell off. Matter of fact, I even have troubles, marital troubles. I come home one night, would you believe it? There was a strange man in the bedroom with my wife, his head on her chest. I said, hey, what the hell are you doing? He says, I'm listening to the music. What music? I don't hear any music. He says, well, you're not plugged in. Guy married about a week. Gets up in the morning, you know, to go to work. His wife says, I'll fix the breakfast, honey. He says, forget the breakfast. Come on back to bed. Half hour later, he gets up and he goes to work. He comes back for noon. She's getting a little repast together, makes him some light sandwiches. He says, forget the food. I'm not hungry. Let's go to bed. That night, he comes home for supper, you know, and she's standing by the stove with her dress up. He says, what are you doing? She says, I'm warming your dinner. I want to tell you something, though. I'm proud of my wife. I bought her a living bra, and the damn thing died of starvation. She said, I'm going downtown, buy a new bra. I said, what the hell for? There's nothing there. She says, so what? You buy shorts? And you should see my second wife. 408 pounds. Oh, man, what I had to go through. Oh, and last week I come home, my wife's got a brand new mink coat on. Beautiful. I says, honey, what are you doing? I can't afford these kind of things. She says, don't worry, I got it at bingo. Really? Next day I go home, there's a Cadillac convertible right in the driveway. I come running, I said, now look, honey, I can't. Honey, don't get excited. I got it at bingo. She says, oh, I feel tired. Would you go up and draw my bath? I called her up 10 minutes later. I said, your bath's ready. She walked in. She says, hey, what the hell's going on? How come there's only a ½ inch of water in the tub? I said, well, I don't want to get your bingo card wet. Like the guy said, let's wait till June to get married. It won't be long till June. She said, how long will it be then? Everybody has problems. I had a fella married 5 times. And he married this gal, she'd been married 4 times. Naturally, they were, well, after all these marriages, he was sexually frustrated, so to speak. She was bored. She went to the psychiatrist. He said, well, it's very simple. He said, you need to get away from each other. Why don't you take a trip and let him rest up a little bit, you know? So she did. She went to the most wonderful places, and she was in India one day. She's walking down the street, and here was this Indian faker. They're sitting there on the ground, you know, blowing this flute, and this snake was going right up there in the air, and right alongside it was this rope going right on up in the air, and she was so fascinated, thrilled by this, and she says, oh, I want it, I want that, I'll pay anything for it, for that flute, anything. So she bought it for $1,000, hops a jet, you know, in this modern age, boing, home in a day. She runs in, here's the husband, he's got the hot water bottle on, he's sleeping, you know, on the bed. She sits down on the floor, and she starts playing the flute, you know, all of a sudden the middle of the blanket starts to go up and up. She jumps, tears off her clothes, hops in the bed, pulls back the blanket, and sure enough, there was a string of his pajamas, straight up. My ma and pa never really had an argument until after I was born, and they never spoke to each other, you know. And my mother was cute, you know. She'd whisper in his ear, fine, and next year they'd have a child. And she'd whisper, and they'd have a child. And she'd whisper, and next year they'd have a child. 17 children. My father was the only man in town who wore earmuffs all year round. But it doesn't matter whether you're 1 year, 2 years, 3. I had a friend of mine married 15 years. Now, this is a long time. He went to his doctor. He said, Doc, I've been to the marriage counselor. I've been to the minister. I'm leaving my wife. It's all off. He said, oh, now, wait a minute, Charlie. Don't wait a minute, Charlie, me. I'm telling you. And you know why it's all up? You're a doctor. Give me an answer. Our romance, it's flat. It's a failure. It's dismal. It's all one way. The doc says, you finished, big mouth, huh? You got it all off your chest, huh? Sure, it's all one way. Your way. Why don't you go home right now and take care of your wife? Right now, it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What's that got to do with it? She's a woman. Go home. grab her, kiss her, smear her lipstick, mess up her hair, tear the dress, tear the dress I paid. I don't care what you paid for it. Tear it off her back. You're going to have a sex maniac in your own home, boy. A ball of fire. You're going to have a romance you never had before. Come back tomorrow. Tell me how great it is. The guy's in the office bright and early next morning. Doctor, what happened? He said, I'll tell you what happened. You got me so damned excited, I got a ticket for speeding on the way home. I didn't even open the door. I just broke it in. I said, honey, don't move. And I grabbed her, and I kissed her, and I smeared the lipstick, and I messed up her hair, and I tore every damn stitch off. I couldn't wait, Doc. I grabbed her and I threw her right on the living room rug. Holy mackerel, man alive. I want to tell you, boy, after listening to you, never in all my born days, it was the same damn dismal humdrum affair. But, boy, her bridge club got a hell of a bang out of it. Oh, everybody has problems these days about marriage. You know the old story about the birds and the bees? Don't you believe it. I put a bird and a bee together and not a damn thing happened. Hear about the rooster put on a baseball uniform to go out and knock up a few fowls? I'll bet something you didn't know. Do you know that since they lowered the turnstiles at the Coliseum, there are more babies born with broken noses in L.A. than ever before? Which reminds me, what did Adam do when he saw Eve, huh? And notice the difference between her and himself? I'll tell you what did. He split the difference. Of course, what kind of gal should a guy marry? That's the problem people always worry about. Well, she was only the garbage man's daughter, but everyone played with her can. Or she was only the lawyer's daughter, but she sure gave me a case. But you never know where you're going to find romance. The other day I was standing out there in the parking lot in the supermarket, and this girl passed by wearing a beautiful pair of tight capris, you know. And I watched her. I said, boy, honey, you look like a locomotive with a tender behind. She said, you should see me when I got a passenger. I said, I'll bet you're a smooth ride, so I bought a ticket. And after I got to my destination, I got off. I said, honey, I feel romantic about these things. You know, I'm a little sentimental. And if anything should happen in 9 months, would you do me a favor and call it Laura? She says, well, yeah, and I feel sentimental, too. And if anything should happen in 3 weeks, do me a favor, call it eczema. You know, you never know when you're going to make a mistake and then have to pay for it. As a matter of fact, there was a fella, you know, he made a mistake and he had to pay for it every damn week. And finally, after the mistake got to be 18 years old, her mother sent her over for the last payment, and he was ready for it. He said, here's the money. Take it home. Tell your mother, boy, this is the last damn payment, and watch the expression on her face. She goes home. She tells the mother, she says, Mother, he was so different. He said, take the money and tell you it was the last payment, and he laughed and said, watch the expression on your face. She says, honey, you go back and tell him he's not your father and watch the expression on his face. Hear about the 2 old maids on the drunk? Damn, near killed him. I met a girl named Mary once. As a matter of fact, I was so crazy about her. I said, honey, I can put my arms around you and squeeze you till you break. And I did. And believe it or not, I felt her crack. Here's to the girl with the little red shoes. She drinks your liquor and she drinks your booze. She has no cherry, but that's no sin. She still got the box the cherry came in. You know, they say that sex is too much for one person. And I agree wholeheartedly. It's too much for one, but it's damn good for 2. Actually, I've been picking on mothers and everything, but expectant mothers today, they've got everything working for them. You know, it's so different and everything. Years ago, when a mother was expecting, she just opened up the first few buttons and say, let it go on by yourself. You know what I mean? But now they got all kinds of dresses and special frocks that they make for them with the pleats and the bows and the colors. And this one tailor designed all these fancies in his shops all over the West Coast with these big signs. Wherever you go along the West Coast, there's signs, mother frocker, mother frocker, mother frocker. Would you believe it? I got off the plane at International Airport, and there was a whole bunch of mother frockers standing right in front of me. And it's nice to see people doing business. As a matter of fact, out here, everybody seems to be coming out here opening up. They opened up a champagne factory here to prove that California champagne is much better than foreign champagne. To make champagne, you have to have 4 essential items. For it, naturally, you have to have the champagne, then the bottles, then the labels, and the corks. And as strange as it seems, the most important item is the corks. Well, there's a very good reason for it. When you take a bottle of champagne, you pry it off, and the cork pops up, and then it swells up. You can't put it back in the bottle. But why they swell up? Well, they take these corks and they soak them in a special solution, and they hire men and women for this, and they call these people cork soakers. And the reason they opened up the factory here in the West Coast is there's more cork soakers in Hollywood than any place else in the whole damn world. So you never know what's going to happen when you do it. People react to different things. As a matter of fact, an unemployed actor came home the other night from work, and there was his wife. Clothes were all torn up. She says, oh, it was terrible. What happened? Who did this to you? Oh, darling, I fought and fought, but he kept tearing me. Who did this to you? Don't lie to me. Who? She said, your agent. My agent. Has he got a part for me? One fellow went to his doc. His doc said, you give him his diet, a Metricol and everything. Believe it or not, I've been going crazy. All I think of is sex. I want to devour it. I'm telling you, it's driving me crazy. The doctor's holding him, and he takes out the book. He says, it's all right. It's only 4 calories.